Olympic basketball just ended, but basketball never stops. The Emirates NBA Cup schedule has been released. And in 2023, Wemby made a comment at the draft, and we're going to break down how that's going for him so far, because this offseason, he's doing well with it. This, all on Spurs Digest, here with your host, Keenan Warner. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, take a spur of the moment, get every Spurs moment, grow this channel, be one of the first few, so when this blows up, you can be like, hey, I was one of them once. I was one of those first ones. But let's get right into it. The NBA schedule comes out later today, tomorrow, but we've got right now, the NBA put out their Emirates Cup group draws, and they put out the schedule. So the San Antonio Spurs find themselves with the Jazz, find themselves with the Lakers, the Suns, and the Thunder. So pretty tough group. You've got Shea and the Thunder team that have gotten even better. One of the favorites coming this year. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and that Phoenix Suns team. We'll see what they are. The Lakers, AD and LeBron. And then the Jazz, we know that the Jazz are not really anything to worry about. But as we see last year, they were with the Kings, with the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Warriors, and the Thunder. So they see the Thunder again. The Thunder have gotten better. The Warriors, the Timberwolves, and the Kings were all playoff caliber teams. The Timberwolves actually made it to the Western Conference Finals. So the pool's about the same. I would actually say that last year's pool had more talent in it. The Spurs, unfortunately, went 0-4 during that stretch. We know they went 22-16, especially in the beginning of the season when Victor Wembanyama was getting himself into his groove, into his NBA career. The Spurs weren't as good, weren't as formidable of an opponent. But as we see here, this year, we've got the Los Angeles Lakers. That's going to be the first game on the docket. Then we got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Then we've got the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns. That schedule right there, that reads 3-1 and absolutely reads going on into group play, into the round, the quarterfinals, and then the semifinals, and then the finals. The Los Angeles Lakers, very good team. Of course, we know LeBron, AD, but after that, it's Austin Reeves, and they didn't do anything this offseason. The Spurs did. They got better on all fronts. They got better point guard depth. Wemby's a second year, which means that he's naturally better. We just saw him put up 26, have the most points against the United States. We have Harrison Barnes, another veteran who has played in the league for a while. Stephon Castle, which maybe offensively he doesn't early just hit, but you know what will hit always? His defense, and he is very elite on the defensive side of the basketball. Then you've got the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be the game that's going to make this either 4-0 or 3-1. That Thunder team is very good, and they improved. They got to the second round last year. They've got more veteran leadership, and Shea's only going to get better. So that one is going to be the tough one of if they win the group or not. The Utah Jazz should be a cakewalk. The Utah Jazz will be a cakewalk. There's no worry there. I understand Lauri Markkanen's on the roster, but that's pretty much that. They have some young pieces. Fine, cool, dandy there. It doesn't really matter. Our young pieces are better, and then we have the best player in that. And then with the Phoenix Suns, they always have a good top of the roster. It's just the fact that the bottom of the roster isn't great. Bottom of the roster isn't great. They don't have depth. That was the problem with them last year. That was the problem with them 2 years ago. And they haven't done much to address that depth in totality. So they're going to have the same problem. 3-1, this reads bare minimum, if not 4-0. And then we get into the quarterfinals and we see who we play from there. But this Spurs schedule and the Spurs chance, I like a lot. I do like it a lot. Last year we had Wemby put up pretty much a season averages in the in-season tournament when there was no name for it. Now it's the Emirates NBA Cup, 21-10, 2.5 assists in the 4 games. So Victor Wembanyama, should only get better. The Spurs team has only gotten immensely better, and with that, 3-1 throughout the schedule, I think that it should be perfectly fine. Emirates Cup, we'll get to the quarterfinals, and we'll see how it goes from there. Speaking of Victor Wembanyama, as we just saw, 21-10, he said something last year at the NBA draft, like when he got drafted. He said, I don't need to bulk up, I need to get stronger. A lot of people coming in were talking about his frame. We're talking about his weight. Talking about how he is going to be able to deal with the pressure and the physicality of the NBA. I mean, but we've seen players of his build come in and put on the muscle so they can take that. We saw Anthony Davis. If we remember him, what he looked at like at Kentucky, he was a beanpole. He was a stick. And now Anthony Davis, he's put on a lot of muscle mass. We've got Giannis, done the same thing. Giannis came in very long, very lanky. Even Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, we know he's not massively big, but Wemby wants to go down more of that Kevin Durant route. If you look at Kevin Durant when he came out of Texas, when he was a Sonic, and then you look at him now, you can see a guy who's put on some weight. And speaking of putting on some weight, a report came out. A stronger Wemby heading into year 2. Wembanyama has added about 11 pounds to his frame since joining the Spurs. He came in about 208, 210-ish. He's roughly around 220 now. With this, the more he gets strength and he's able to deal with the contact. I mean, we saw him dealing with Embiid in France, in the France-USA game. Obviously, the physicality of FIBA is more than the NBA, and we saw him deal with that physicality. He might not have had his shot, and it was really just from the three-point line, but it wasn't that he was shooting bad ones. He just wasn't hitting them. That's okay. He's not the greatest of shooters. He's a very good shooter for his size, but, that's going to come and go. So, with this here, Victor Wembanyama is just taking the next step and the next step. He cares. That's the one thing about him the most, is he cares about his craft. He cares about getting better, and he cares about competing. Again, we all saw the quote. I talked about the quote. Everybody should be scared. He is learning. It's going to be scary for the league in a couple. It's already scary for people now. Imagine when he learned, when he's at peak physical strength. The 2028 Olympics in LA, he's looking to get his get back. Okay, you guys beat me on my home floor. I'm going to go beat you on your home floor. Everybody be concerned about 2028 with France because of that guy right there. But within the meantime, the Spurs are so delighted to have this guy here now that they're able to build, grow, and put themselves in championship contention so early. I mean, we saw with Tim Duncan how early we were in championship contention. Obviously, it was in the lockout season after he'd gotten drafted year 1. And then you had David Robinson on that roster as well, the Admiral MVP in 94-95. So you had another MVP to go along with that. But Tim Duncan came in. Within 2 years, the Spurs are champions. What can you do? I mean, not that this is a lockout, and we'll see how it goes this year. We'll be predicting what's going on with the Spurs this coming season, but Victor Wembanyama putting on strength is only going to help with him moving forward and help with the Spurs' development and their growth. Let me know your guys' thoughts below on Wemby putting on weight. What do you think this is going to mean for him moving forward this year? What do you think about their schedule and their group for the Emirates Cup this season? How do you think they'll fare? Do you think they're going to be better than last year? I hope so. They didn't even win a game, so they've got to be better than last year. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know below. Again, this is Spurs Digest with Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you on the next one.